Greetings to one and all, it's your old buddy Jay here, coming at you with another episode of Countermeasures Jay Play. I'm in my little vest, of course, and I've been playing Assassin's Creed Shadows. Now, I've put about 15 hours into this game. I tried to avoid all the hype before it came out because a lot of people were saying that it wasn't going to be very good and they could find all these problems with it and blah, blah, blah. And I was trying to ignore all of that because I kind of wanted to, evaluate this on its own merit. I've played all the other Assassin's Creed games except for I stopped halfway through Valhalla. I never played the last one. I played Odyssey. I didn't play. I played Origins. I can't remember whatever the one was before this. Anyway, that will tell you everything you need to know about my opinion on this franchise now, because I used to absolutely love it when the first one came out, and the second one's a banger. Even the third one, and like the Americana kind of style, Navajo Indian, whatever. It was all really, really good and really interesting and original. And then obviously the Japanese side of things was always such a good tail into this kind of gameplay. You're an assassin, and always getting sort of, we're getting kind of hassle for not having done it sooner. And then Ghosts of Tsushima came out and it was really good, and then eventually they get to this and it's just like a whirlwind of like missed opportunities. Black Flag was a banger, but then the others since then have been arguably getting worse. I mean, Odyssey, everyone says how amazing it is. I have to say that, like, having played all of them up until like the last two or whatever, which is hundreds and hundreds of hours of gameplay, it just doesn't feel like it's progressed. And I started off playing this, getting really into it. I like the characters. The story's kind of built to the point where I'm interested in like assassinating these people that kind of killed my father anyway. And then you're kind of finding out what the MacGuffin is, the box, which is, is it an apple of Eden or whatever? Again, slightly less important. And they've pushed away all the Animus stuff, which is brilliant. There's a bit of that if you want it, but if not, it's fine. And now I've hit a point where it's just busy work. It's just, here's a ring of people that you have to kill. Each one of them has like subset missions that you have to complete before you get the opportunity to find out where they are. You have to search on the map, try and track the people down. And there's a whole detective element to it that wasn't there before. I've just got bored. Basically, I played about sort of 12, 13 hours of it. I'm up to the 15-hour mark, I think. I'm about 40% the way through. And I was kind of getting into it, but in a kind of, it's repetitive. I didn't know if I was enjoying it. Then we had like an Easter break where I had to go away and do other stuff. So I had to put all my gaming stuff down, and I was just away from it for the last couple of weeks. And every single time I thought, I'd quite like to do some gaming, or that kind of little trigger in the back of your head sort of says, we're normally doing more gaming than this. Then I remembered, I'm playing Assassin's Creed. And then a little bit of me was like, okay. And since I've come back, I've found any other excuse to do any other job, any other thing I've got going on other than jump back into this game. That is the condemning, that is the hammer fall, that is the axe that has kind of made me basically decide that I'm not going to continue playing. I'm really sad about it because I was really hoping that this was going to kind of do something different. I thought it was going to sort of, it was going to sink or swim, and I think it's just gently floated. So we've got a floater, I think, is basically the bottom line. IGN have gone off on how it's the most amazing thing ever. It's not. The whole internet has gone off, like every influencer on the planet has gone off saying how terrible it is. It's not that either. It's just okay. And the fact that it's not terrible means that people who thought it was going to be terrible were all like, actually, this is quite good. It's just fine. It's beige. It's relatively bland. Like, the voice acting looks good. The voice acting sounds good. The visuals look good. But again, there's this weird thing going on where I don't know if it's the animus part of it that is weird to me, that it doesn't kind of gel. Now they've kind of started pushing that away and saying, oh, you don't need to worry about the fact that you're a guy or girl in the future reliving these memories. That's always, but that was fine for the early ones where it was a bit different, and they sort of wrapped that up with Desmond's storyline. That kind of got sort of wrapped up. So like, just drop it and just do this thing. But the problem is that, when you are on a very linear mission, it is gated where you can go. So you've got barriers come up with the little animus squares popping up like we've got here. And that just immediately locks me into kind of feeling like I'm being forced down this path. This kind of illusion of choice is something that they hasn't progressed far enough. When you look at like Ghost of Tsushima, like, it's open world, you can interact with other samurai that are waiting to fight you on hilltops. You can follow the main story. There's side quests. You can go and do all this stuff. It's very much like Elden Ring in that respect, that you've got this open world, or rather Elden Ring's much like that. There's that feeling of freedom, however gated it is. Maybe it's gated because you're on an island or you're packed into a certain area. That's fine. But with this, it's like I'm running and suddenly I'm bumping into this digital wall because the memories don't go that. I don't know. I just think it's played out. It feels restrictive. Also, the one thing that I did do was I turned on the option to do the instant kill with the thing, which basically means that I don't need to wait to level up my character to level 25 to fight that guy over there who's level 25. If you didn't turn that on, what would happen is you go to assassinate him and he just push you away. Now, I think if you've got an assassin's blade, then you should be able to kill people with one hit. So I turned it on, and it made the game much more fun. So I progressed quite well with that, etc., etc. But again, like, it's become so repetitive. It's like, I know I'm going to eventually break into this fortress. I know that the AI will probably see me at some point, but then I'll run around a corner and hide behind in a bush, and then they'll lose me. I'll know that if there are 5 or 6 guards in an area, I'm going to sit in a bush and whistle. One's going to come, kill him. Whistle, the next one's going to come, kill him. Whistle, so like, that's fine for like 1 or 2 missions where you're using that skill, but I can do that every single time. So I don't need to follow any other paths or do anything else creative. I can just follow that. And the reason that you end up following that is because if you don't and you take a risk to try something else, you'll probably end up dying. You'll probably end up blowing the mission and everyone being alerted. Then you have to wait for everything to reset. Then you have to, so like, you could either do that mission in like the allotted 20 minutes, or you could do it in 4 hours and the results are the same. So why wouldn't you just do the tried and tested method of like I whistle, only one person hears me, not loads of people, one person. So they start looking, and I don't know. So the AI still hasn't quite, it's just not there for me. I'm not getting a realistic experience. And then it's like, okay, well, this is a real thing. This is a sword that you get that does this. And this is and then you're just fighting people normally. It's not like your sword breaks other people's swords. It's not like it gives you anything particularly overpowering against someone else. Because if you haven't done enough things to give you XP, your level of XP and experience is what matches you against sword fighters, not the weapon you have. It doesn't matter if I'd have like been doing loads and loads of sword fighting. I don't progress as a sword fighter when I fight, which I think you should do. And I think, if I remember, like, Ghost of Tsushima does reward you for that kind of stuff. When you win a sword fight against somebody, or like a standing duel or whatever, it rewards you because it knows you're improving your gameplay. Whereas with this, it's like, oh, you haven't collected enough feathers, well, then you can't progress to the next level. Yeah, if I'm on horseback and I'm riding through various towns and just ride all over the country, it will reward me for finding places and discovering. So what it wants me to do is spread out, find all this stuff. It's just, again, that's fine for like, let's say 5 missions. But I can't keep doing it. It's like 15 hours of the same old dross. And I'm starting to like the first 5 hours. I was like, this is fine. Then into 10, I was like, starting to get a bit bored. The last 5 have been a drag, and like I said, the thought of going back and playing it has been holding me off. I haven't wanted to do it. So, I'm never a big fan of people that review games like without completing them. But what I would say, as I'm not going to complete this, what I would say is that maybe I can't actually comment on the depth of the storytelling. And let's face it, in these games, it's mild at best. The functionality of the voice acting and all of the motion capture stuff is always really good. It's really good in this game as well, from what I've seen so far. But the gameplay, the minute-to-minute stuff, the interactions with other NPCs, the side quests, the main quests, and the process you have to go through. It's just everything feels like it's not what I want to be doing. Everything feels like I should be doing something else, but I have to do this to get to that bit. And then when I get to that bit, which is like maybe assassinating a certain person, tracking them down in their fortress or their base or whatever, when I get to that bit, it doesn't quite last long enough, or it's a bit of a letdown. Like there was a bit where I had to fight a guy who was a really good swordsman. Basically, I just did laps of his main base until I could get people separated enough to kill them, and then just kept doing that and that and that and that. And it was almost like comical, to the point where I could jump up on buildings and hide around the corner, and then he'd go, "Oh, you've gone," and then you could do like a flying jump on him and attack him. And it just, I don't know, there's something not right with it. And I think had I have not had a break, I probably would have just powered through and I probably would have finished it by now. But the fact that I stopped, and then the thought of having to go back and play it, is absolutely telling about what I truly feel in my heart this game. I liked it at first, started getting a little bit boring with the repetition, and then the idea of going back to it was just not floating my boat. I wasn't interested to see what was going to happen next, because I know that the sequence that I'm currently doing is the same sequence I'm going to be doing in 20 hours, and then there's just going to be like a final battle probably, and that'll be it. So, I mean, based on what I've seen so far and what I've done so far, I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. I can't give it anything more than that, because it's just not doing enough for me. I think at this stage, and the amount of commitment that I've put into Assassin's Creed games, I mean, Black Flag was such a big jump forward. It was really interesting, all the pirate stuff and whatever. This should have been the absolute best game of the series. It should have been, it's tailor-made, assassins and ninjas and samurai and all that kind of stuff. And there's just something missing. And there's still an issue with when you're running through towns dressed as an assassin with a sword out. No one really cares. Like, it went from one extreme to the other. In the earlier games, you'd pull a sword out in the middle of a town and the whole town would fight you. Now it's the opposite. You pull a sword out in the middle of like an area where they're just selling pots and pans, and nobody could give a shit. So I don't understand. It doesn't feel, and when things like that happen, which they constantly happen, it just takes me out of it straight away. I just lose that world of immersion. And to compare it to FromSoft, of course, because why isn't everything compared to FromSoft? They never deal with that. When you're in Bloodborne, when you're in the world of Elden Ring, Demon Souls, when you're in Sekiro, when you're playing for that, it's just like, it's tight. Everything fits within the world. You don't get out. Okay, it's hard, of course, but you don't feel disconnected. There isn't a moment where one of the AI-controlled characters that's about to fight you or whatever does something weird and throws the game out, or like it doesn't follow the sequence of what it's meant to be doing, or gets stuck on something, or the characters around it just start doing weird stuff that sort of throws you out of it. They're all very deliberately programmed to do specific things that fit within that world. And the minute that like they're out, if there's anything that's out of the scope of that, it's not in the game. Whereas with this, it's like they haven't really considered that, like, not everybody's just standing on, in the towns, they're all just sort of standing on street corners. You can't interact with them. They don't do anything unless they're a specific NPC, and then they glow and you can see blatantly where they are on the map. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know. It's just not working for me anymore. So I think this might be my last Assassin's Creed game, if I'm totally honest, unless they do something absolutely off the wall bonkers in the future, which is what they should do. But the problem is they make just enough to qualify making another one, and I think that's basically where it is. So yeah, it's 5 out of 10. I don't recommend playing it. Save your money, spend it on something else. There's loads of really good stuff coming out. I haven't played it yet. I did download it the other day, but the Indiana Jones Great Circle game for the PS5 finally released. There's a whole massive list of other stuff to play. Atomfall, by Rebellion, who I'm a big fan of. I just think there's loads of stuff that you could be doing. So that's me. Until next time, be good, stay safe, and be kind to one another. Peace out. We gone. Oh, oh.